Your kind words. Good evening, friends, and a warm welcome to Across the Himalaya. Just a small background. This is in 1997, the era where there was no mobile phones, no internet. So we can imagine the difficulty of connectivity or procuring proper maps or route information. It is 29 years ago, and you can feel today like where I went, I can just use Google Earth and drop on my hat, and I can see where I was in 29 years ago. But it wasn't the case. So communication from home from us was very difficult. So this is just in the background. See, other than the physical part, these were the part of expedition problems of that time. So. All the way from Mumbai. And when I was in school, my father often took me for drives into the hills near Mumbai. Vineeta, light?
I think this is enough. We are able to see.
Okay. Can you see, everybody sees a picture clarity? Yeah, thanks. When I was in school, my father often took me for drives into the hills near Mumbai. The sight of lush green hills and forests and waterfalls stirred a deep longing in me to walk and connect and become one with the mountains. That curiosity grew into a lifelong passion as I started trekking and climbing in the Sahyadris, the mountains that form the spine of Western India. Recognized today as a UNESCO World Heritage Site, they became my training ground for the greater calling that would follow, the call of the Himalaya. Little did I imagine that one day I would find myself on an expedition that would change my life forever. A journey across the roof of the world. A 4,500 kilometer traverse from the eastern end of the Himalaya to its western tip, crossing 42 high altitude passes, about 3,000 meters, all in but 198 days. In February 1997, 8 women from different states of India set out from Bumdila, a small village in remote eastern Himalayan state of Arunachal Pradesh. It was exhausting, walking 60 kilometers sometimes in a day with 20 kilo packs on our backs. Despite doctors' warning, I joined the expedition with an ankle that was still weak from previous mountaineering accident. The mountain tested not only our physical endurance but also our emotional strength. The leadership style created tensions that were as challenging as the terrain itself. But this experience was truly transformative. Every day presented new challenges and yet new insights. My intent in writing this book is simple: to take the reader along with me, to experience the grandeur of the Himalaya, and above all, to meet its kind and resilient people. Was very fortunate and very happy to tell you everyone that in 2025, across the Himalaya, this book was given a special jury mention in Banff Film and Book Festival. From 11 countries, 158 books came for this competition. It's one of the foremost adventure festival in the world. Last year it was its 50th year, and I'm very happy because I'm just an adventurer, mountain lover, not really a writer, but people across, and my intention is to get the people across the world to love the Himalaya. Throughout the journey, I witnessed changes within myself, physical, emotional, and spiritual. A transformation I describe in my book through the metaphor of a caterpillar becoming a butterfly and completing a journey of its lifetime. It starts with a dream. Dare to dream. Without a dream, you may never begin. The white bloom amidst deep green olives, against the blue sky caught my attention. Magnificent magnolias stood tall in a straight row on the edge of the dense forest. Birds were chirping with joy, and the air was filled with a delightful fragrance. I picked up a giant white flower lying on the grass. Its soothing essence stirred a chord as I ran my fingers along the velvety petals. See, fresh milk for us. Remember, there was no fridge over there, and her niece came running towards us and pulled us into their home. And she somehow, we didn't understand their language, but they didn't know our language. But with the softness with her, which they dealt with us, they made us sit on the warm blankets and gave us this milk tea. Milk tea for us, we feel it's we don't even think it's a commodity, it's something special. We're in a place where milk itself is a special commodity, and she was worried that we weren't able to drink black tea, and she was worried that we won't reach in time so to give that milk tea to us. Now that is a kind of affection Himalaya showered on us for the next 6 months. It was still by, and my feet covered the Himalayan trails. I started adopting. Continuously holding the ski stick had made the skin on my palm hard and calloused. My wrist had strengthened over time. I felt in control of my walking and was now enjoying the trek, ignoring the discomforts. The physical exhaustion, dehydration, chronic aching muscles, my painful ankle, the constant hunger, along with mental and emotional hardships, were transforming me into a stronger self. I had learned to cope up with whatever difficulty I faced and still enjoy each day on the dream trail across the Himalaya. This enormous white Chotinkora stupa loomed as we approached our destination. It is one of the most prominent landmarks of eastern Bhutan and stands in perfect harmony with nature, representing its 5 essential elements: earth, water, fire, sky, and space or ethos. In Bhutan, I'm very fond of, I'm an artist by nature, and I love all kinds of handicrafts, especially the Indian interior handicrafts. And in Bhutan is no exception, such beautiful woven bamboo handicrafts one can see, and these are especially baskets made to keep the rotis warm. It's kind of a casserole made of natural material. It was in Bhutan that I was emotionally devastated by the news of my grandmother's passing, to whom I was very attached. I felt lost, but soon found purpose. I vowed to carry on my journey as a tribute to her indomitable spirit. From Bhutan, we crossed into Sikkim, and we trekked across the remote Rathongla into Nepal, the very heart of the Himalaya. The trail now followed the Arun River, one of the principal rivers of eastern Himalaya in Nepal. Walking along the river was a relief as the temperature soared by mid-afternoon. Watching the river flowing along most of the trail, I remembered what Tao philosophy had to say about water. Water is essential to all life, yet it does not proclaim its importance or charges any fee. Rather, it flows humbly from the highest level to the lowest. What you're seeing over here is our camp. Most of the days, we started our trek for the first light, and wherever we find at the end of the day, almost 10 to 12 or to 13 hours, just before sunset, whether we find place to camp, where we could find water and some shelter, we would just make our makeshift camps, makeshift kitchen, all help each other to make the food, breakfast or dinner. And this is what you're seeing in this picture. The difficulties were overwhelming, and doubts came into my mind, but miraculously, the strength came from the journey itself. Before Pisang village, a massive stone wall was engraved in Om Mani Padme Hum. This mantra is integral to Mahayana Buddhism and is inscribed on money stones and prayer wheels. It is believed that chanting this mantra empties the mind of everything, bringing about an awareness within. Seeing that wall reminded me of the adversity I would face to sustain this trek. Sometimes it felt like I'd hit the wall and the journey would end right there. I chanted the mantra as I passed the wall in front of me, and miraculously, my wall of challenges became my guiding force, breaking any barriers of doubt. My lens, Makalu, the fifth highest mountain peak in the world, was bathing in a pale golden light. The lake, Gufa Pokri, was still as a mirror, reflecting tranquility. A bird in flight against the early morning light added life. I clicked a perfect moment. It was as if in my mind's camera scanned every little detail. The cool breeze, the warmth of his first rays, the bird's calls, to store for eternity. However tired and fatigued I felt, whenever or young or old women of the Himalaya when I met, they were always smiling despite any hardship they had faced in life or were facing at that very moment. And that was extremely encouraging, and whenever, even throughout my life, whenever I have felt sad or something, I always remember such faces. I close my eyes and remember such face where, in spite of every difficult problem or anything they are facing, the smile never fades their faces. Muktinath. The region is arid and watery scarce. By afternoon, we reached two huge caves at a fantastic location with a trickle of water. And I felt, the less you have, the more you value. One could stand on the edge and gaze into eternity. We were now in the Trans-Himalaya at nearly 3,955 meters. Malika, Shumita and I pitched our tent facing the most scenic view of Thorungla. I could see distant hills stretching into Tibet. When I gaped at Thorungla on the horizon, I could not believe the distance and the steep terrain we were covering daily. Unfortunately, the gap between the team members was widening. I learned to cope up with fear as the terrain posed many challenges. One such incident stands out in my memory. The narrow trail required total concentration. Now we had reached the cliff's edge, and the bridge across the abyss, just a foot wide and almost 8 feet long, made up of wooden logs layered with stones, looked suspended in midair. I was hesitant to walk across. To my feet, cautiously placing one foot in front of the other. I love sketching along the way whatever the houses or the places I saw, or I had many flowers and grass blade that I could stick at the end of the day. I wrote my journal every day. I have 8 diaries of the 7 months that I walked across. And the sketches or writing did not just made into as a journal, but it was also a way for me to express my feelings and get over the pressure or the gloominess I felt of the whatever incidents of the particular days. We went to the bazaar to meet Fulmine, an English lady we had met the previous day on the streets of Jumla. Now we had reached western Nepal. We trekked across 2 months across Nepal. She was thrilled to learn about our venture and offered any help we needed. It was as if she was God sent. Right now, we definitely wanted to meet her and requested her to fax our letter to Mumbai, asking the Himalayan Club to lend their support. On my left, and the green jacket is Divyesh. After 4 months, Malika Virdi, Shumita Roy, and I decided to forge our own path, no longer constrained by ethical dilemmas and authoritarian leadership. We named our onward journey to walk across the high Himalaya, a journey by Indian women 1997. In Munsiari, Divyesh and friends helped us check the technical gear required for the passes. 5 locals from Pato village were organized to carry loads of ration and extra tents up to Malari village across the high passes. Having reorganized our expedition, we were ready to leave Munsiari at the end of the 4th day. This was the shortest time anybody could have possibly taken, to organize an expedition of this scale. Having crossed on our own as a group of three women and the support from these Pato villagers, after crossing first pass Hingula, this is at Topi Dunga, we're all smiles and enjoying the sunshine of the afternoon. This is where the whole area, like a bird's eye view, one gets. And Lavtal is an exposed bed of ancient sea, Tethys, which disappeared during the formation of the Himalaya. Thus, the area is treasure land of millions of fossils. It was a location worth standing on since we could get views of the high peaks of the Girthi-Ganga Valley and towards the Milam Glacier. Our way across. From a very high point, I could get our villagers carrying the load across the slope below. And looking at this, one can understand, I can understand how small we are in front of this grandeur of the Himalaya. Went towards Gamshali. We were welcomed by this stretch of flowers, and I felt that God has spread out a whole carpet full of flowers for us. He's Madhuda. I was 30 years old and he was only 72 years old, and he was all up and ready to be as our guide to walk across Buhinder Khal and maybe get into Valley of Flowers and all the way probably show us walk up to Badrinath. So under his guidance we crossed. I could get cross Buhinder Khal, and as we went up towards the second pass, I could get a picture of the entire Valley of Flowers as seen here from one spot. Buhinder Khal and our route of descent were visible from this vantage point. Gigantic Hathi and Gori Parbat bathed in early morning light. The famous Hemkund site was hidden behind the ridges. We reached the top of Kuntakal by midday. But when I looked down the other side of the pass, I realized we were in for a steep descent without any apparent route. Madhoda began the descent with sure-footed confidence and with a little smile and humor. By now, I had learned to devise a pillow with branches, leaves or rocks. I was expecting a freezing night. Instead, I woke up in the middle of night to loosen the zip of my sleeping bag, which had become hot like an oven. Adapting to different environments every day was a learning curve. One tiny, delicate, exotic blue poppy jutting out of a rock on the cliff I was traversing that day has etched forever in my mind. Standing on Kalindi Pass, I suddenly found an answer to the question I often ask myself. What is it that draws me to these distant and difficult places time and again? Is it the sheer magnificent beauty or the tranquility? Is it the experience of being one in the nature? What is it? I belong here, was the answer echoing in my mind. On the edge of Chitkul, time seemed to stand still. Yellow mustard fields, a blue sky, a forest of thick birch trees, and Kinnori architecture made a classic painting. The only difference was the canvas was earth and the picture was alive. At Karcham, the Satluj was magical. While washing my feet, I felt a presence. I looked up. To this day, I remember the icy touch on my face. A lady in white sari appeared. With long hair and deer-like eyes, she smiled. The next moment, she began floating upright on the bubbly water. I felt the water level rising every second. Then I heard a soft voice. Winnie, just let yourself go. Come with me. Life is beautiful here. You can float till eternity. She extended her hands towards me. Mesmerized, I took one step forward, ready to take the plunge. The icy water instantly numbed my feet, jolting me to reality. I could hear the roaring sound of the water and felt the currents under my feet. She was gone. I wiped the sweat off my palms, shaking thoroughly by the narrow escape. Was it a hallucination or my imagination? What touched me most were the people of the mountains. The gentle yet resilient people reached deep into my soul. One particular incident remains in my heart. I was looking for vegetables and asked one local. He asked me where I was from and what had brought me to his remote village. I explained our entire journey. I could see his expression shift from simple curiosity to one of deep respect. He called his wife to fetch some vegetables from their field. I thanked him and followed the woman to their field, which was further ahead of the village. We reached her farm. She dug out carrots and turnips and handed them to me. Then I too began plucking some rye leaves. By the end, my hands were full of farm fresh vegetables. I could not express how precious they were. And when I returned to her shop, I asked her how much I owed her. "You are like my younger sister, and this is all I have to offer you," she said with a smile. The green vegetables have become more precious with her love and generosity. 14,000 feet plus. Kibbar is one of the remotest villages in Himachal, and this was the starting point towards the next pass, Parangla. And today it's become famous for the snow leopard conservation area. Standing atop Parangla brought on strong feelings. As a team, Malika, Shumita and I had walked the talk, reaching the goal, come what may. Crossing high mountain ranges, standing on passes that led us into more exciting places, and gazing at the mind-blowing beauty of the snow-clad peaks that surrounded us, I felt incredibly blessed. Paridongni means a mountain in another country. This is the first peak in Ladakh seen from Spiti. Later in the afternoon, wearing ponchos, we kept our pace through lashing wind and rain. Our destination was Karzok village, which was still at least 8 hours walk. We were shrouded in grey clouds and bone-chilling wind. Out of nowhere, a streak of strong sunlight appeared, and I saw a rainbow rising from Somoriri and merging into its far end. It was hypnotizing. It dawned on me that happiness is not somewhere beyond this rainbow, but this rainbow itself. For rainbow, a fleeting phenomena represents a present moment, and being happy in that moment is the real truth. Not a minute before and not a minute after. When we say that we did the travels, I'm grateful to all the animals, the four-legged ones, the porters, and other people who walk with us as guides, or the animals who give us company and carried our loads. So I'm saying bye-bye to Golma, who walked across me through 2 high passes from Somoriri Lake towards Lake. We walked along the ancient Silk Route. Ladakh, a land of mountain passes, maintains a rich Buddhist heritage with its strong gompas, prayer wheels, cliffside stupas and butter lamps. Here I am, on my right is Jean Thomas, and we trekked along the ancient Silk Route, once connecting India to Central Asia and China. Jean Thomas was instrumental in getting the permits for us to trek to Karakoram Pass. She joined us as our 4th member on the last leg of our journey. On the way to Sasarla, this beautiful emerald green glacial lake was a pleasant surprise. Looking at this photograph, you can believe that Karakoram is known as geologist's paradise. The dog in the picture is our fifth member on the last leg of our journey, named Kara. We named her Kara because she joined us on the trail towards Karakoram Pass. And Kara sat poised near the cane at Karakoram Pass, watching us intently while we took pictures in all directions and hugged each other. I sensed her smiling at me when I took her picture. She had been a faithful and affectionate guardian since joining us. She was so well camouflaged and at ease in that landscape that looking at her settle down there, I felt total surrender is freedom. And finally, we reached our destination on 20th August 1997. With the golden rays blazing over foreheads, we held hands tight and walked to the top of Karakoram Pass, 5,638 meters. As we hoisted the tricolor, we were overwhelmed by the tears of pride. It was such an emotional moment for us all. Countless memories from last 198 days, trekking across the Himalaya flooded our hearts. My thoughts in the blue sky. The clouds take any shape and size as they drift away. My subconscious mind was observing all this, and while I marveled at my mind's astounding power, I was not tired from walking this extensive distance. Why? Because my mind had asked me to continue to enjoy and conserve my physical and mental energies. It was an awe-inspiring experience to realize that my feet had carried me from Arunachal Pradesh to where I was standing right then, the Karakoram Pass. I was engulfed in a flurry of emotions. I had transformed into butterfly that had faced the challenges of the mighty Himalaya. In the golden light that morning, the butterfly was floating effortlessly, realizing life is but an experience. It was offered each day with a new beginning, felt reborn many times, many ways. With gossamer wings outstretched, facing different challenges was just a part of living life to its fullest. Its realization too was profound. The real splendor of such a voyage was in the belief that the scent of the magnolia is forever fragrant in this incredible journey called life.
From Bondila up to the Karakoram Pass. So once again, congratulations Vineeta, you had us spellbound. Now, she mentioned that after Nepal, this team of 8 became 2. This was actually after 124 days. And on the 8th of June, they actually split into 2 teams to complete this traverse differently. So, before I go any further, I also must share with you that Vineeta is an outstanding photographer. She is a painter and she is an equally good climber, mountaineer. So, seldom you have adventure, you have mountains, you have a climber all converging into one. So, this trek of theirs probably is not only a testimony to their friendship and their perseverance to undergo, but also brings to fore that ability to forge as a team. So, Vineeta, I need to ask you that how did you actually train physically and mentally for this venture once you know that you're going to be part of this team?
The final proposal came about 2 months before, 2.5 months that it was decided that I was going to be the part of this expedition. So before mountaineering, I has to be a swimmer. So I went back to swimming, and twice a week I used to swim, and do some staircasing because being in Bombay, there was no time working, there was no time to go on a hike every day. But in reality, it's such a journey. Mentally, I was prepared that whatever happens, no amount of just beginning of the training would be enough. It's going to be more of endurance and like perseverance. Only that my swimming coach had taught me that when you are tired, swim one more lap without thinking. You will tell your body, and your body will follow. And that same principle that applied when in the beginning of first 1 month was very difficult for all of us because suddenly out of the blue you are everyday walking, as I said, 20 kilo load, and between anything with minimum distance to be 30 kilometers, maximum would be 60 kilometers. Depends on the area and where the water is available. So breaking in what you call we break in shoes, we break in ourselves. So breaking a horse, we took about 1 month to do that. My body never felt the pain of carrying extra load.
Lovely. And how many shoes did you break?
I was fortunate to get, I was only even used one pair of leather boots, and my rest of the team members have taken 4 pairs of shoes. But because my dear husband made sure, because I always had have an ankle injury since I was 19 years old. So he made sure, and the doctor almost warned me that if you do this journey and you actually walk this distance, when you come back, you may not be able to walk again. So that was the thing. I said, okay, by the time I think the doctors will find something like knee replacement, I will also have an ankle replacement.
You crossed, technically you crossed the Assam Himalaya, you crossed the Nepal Himalaya, you crossed the Karakoram Himalaya. So, which segment of the range you found the most fascinating, beautiful, and something which you carried with you or carry till date with you?
One of the such places, as you see in the picture, Chitkul. It's like if I close my eyes also, I see that picture. Today also, even if I even go back to Chitkul, I think I'll still remember that scenery when we became exhausted, tired, and just this beautiful scenery, just real photogenic postcard picture was right in front of me, and it just wears away all your tiredness if you are receptive. And I truly believe that at the forests of Nepal, I mean the trees, the girth wood were like the width of this room. And I don't have so many places, I don't have all the pictures, but in the mind's camera there's so many memories and pictures that they're still alive. And one of my most favorite area is Nepal, like Gufa Pokri. Pokri in Nepali means lake, and there are hundreds of lakes, and they are really the small passes you cross, and wonderful people and small places with bamboo forest and uniqueness. Like Bhutan has this blue pine which just, whether it's wet or dry, it just lights up. And I only think I felt sad that they were used and they were cutting this blue bamboo for warming up as firewood, and that was the sad part I felt. Or then I saw, I am from printing line, I'm an artist, so I saw actual paper making in Nepal. So many things you don't know, and as I said in my book also that when you travel, when you trek, you not only explore the world, you also explore yourself to know what's happening, what things around the world actually are.
Okay, lovely. Also crossed 43 passes, all above 3,000 meters. So I won't talk about the passes below that, which again is an incredible number.
Yeah, I didn't count them.
Any particular pass where you remember, the crossing was very precarious or exciting, or something which stays etched in your memory?
Yes, very much, because above Muktinath, many of you know Pokhara, Muktinath, and you saw this picture where I was standing at the bridge earlier day from my camp. In my sketch, this day where I was sitting and we were sketching, and next day I requested my friend to take my picture when I'm in the center of the bridge. And that particular area is connecting Mustang Valley to western Nepal in Jumla. Very, very rarely visited. Actually, I don't think we had the permit. But actually there, high up in second day, you see the entire making of Himalaya. It is like in the, as I say, it was in the folds. So you actually see big rock faces which are like a wave and like a fold on one side of the whole valley. And it's extremely arid, and still there are small villages, and it make me wonder what kind of place human beings can survive. And it was one of the most incredible places I visited is Sangha Pass.
In India, which you found very challenging to cross?
Kuntakal is actually, Gundarkal was also, because the weather is always bad, and so we also got very bad weather somehow. Madhavda was, I was astounded at his memory, his speed, his agility and focus at the age of 72. And he got us through all the difficult terrain also. Like we stayed together, we roped up and we just walked up. But from there, looking at us walking with confidence with him, he got more confidence. He let's go by the Kuntakhal, and it was a sea. Kuntakhal, the area, the Valley of Flower area has been stopped for trekkers. It's been banned from people camping or trekking, or even the locals not going there. So actually, Kuntakhal was though shortcut was a real terror because both my hands were full of thorns at the end of the day. And only in the 4-5 days later, I had to pinch myself and take out all the thorns. So it was one of the wildest places. And I heard that the net I was googling, did a Google search, and there are some people who still take people across that trail. But it's more of a scramble than a trek if you go Kuntakhal towards Valley of Flowers.
Okay. Kuntakhal lies at the western end of the Valley of Flowers. And it is from there you actually come down to Hanuman Chatti.
Yeah, straight down.
Yeah,
straight.
So it's about 4,430 meters high pass, and in a book, she's described it very well what they underwent when they actually had to cross the Kuntakhal. And so anyway, amazing. I would now also request those of you who are here, in case you have any question for her, please do ask unhesitatingly.
You have mentioned Sela Pass, Bombdila Pass,
Yes.
and I know some places in Ladakh which are very deadly battle zone in 62 and even after that today. So I hope the military gave you good support wherever you move
Yes,
around.
I have given extremely due credit to the entire army on ITBB and everyone who either hosted us or fed us on the way and helped us to navigate or give us shelter. Like towards Kalinikhal, above Mana village, we happened to say, because instead of camping, they said, why don't you come and stay with our soldiers? And we had a lovely evening. They sang for us, we sang for them. So some of those memories are totally different, and I'm eternally grateful to Indian Army and ITBP for their support throughout.
That Mana is a beautiful place. I've camped there next to the
Yes.
river, very nice.
Beautiful
So
place.
the other thing I want to ask you, more
Yes.
being curious, is that this traverse has been done by other people in the past and I'm sure in the future. So I remember when I was a young cadet, there was an army team which started from Mizoram, I think 1980, 81.
81, yes.
They did the traverse, and Andy Sherpa, the famous mountaineer who
Yes.
first made Kanchenjunga, was there. And I think you had done it after that. So
Peter-
I just want to know, is that the route you've taken, have you been able to map it against other routes people have taken, some trade routes, some known, learned and sort of mapped and scaled, I don't want to put it, from the cartographic perspective, for what you did. If tomorrow I want to do it or someone has to do it, can we get that information from your book?
Yes, my book has, my dear husband also is a great mountaineer, and he is very good at making maps. And he actually, the book maps in my book are all made by him with as a background of Google Earth, but he's actually drawn all the entire route as per the description of the names in my diary. Because the major, I'm not taking each and every camp, but the major points which we could refer back to today's Google map and get a corrected names and something, because the names are written as the villager told us. So the pronunciation could be wrong or something small here and there mistake. So that he rectified all of them and actually physically drew the line on the map, on the given background page, and created the entire from Bomdila to 198 days to up to Karakoram Pass. So yes, if you refer to my book, you can plan your own trail right from Eastern India to Western tip. But and coming back earlier, Peter, Hillary, and some of the Indian team they went, but they have our trails intervene. Some places they went higher, like Sherpanikol or some other places. And Peter Hillary also they went across Pakistan, where the Indian team stopped much before that. And we had these references of books before when at the planning stage. So that was only a reference points for us that time, because as I said, it was a Google Earth era, so information whatever was there, and then as we went along with the local guide or places, and of course between the mountains there will be only one trail, the major pass, there will be only one trail going, you won't have small diversions, even they are there, you don't really follow those paths.
There have been two traverses. In 1981 there was a joint Indo-New Zealand Traverse expedition which was led by Mr. S.P. Chamoli, that was sponsored by the Indian Mountaineering Foundation, and they actually started from Kanchenjunga and went all the way up to the Karakoram Pass.
Sikkim to Karakoram. Yeah.
Okay, so they actually crossed, and I've seen that route, I've seen their route. At a number of places they have crossed, but also there are places where the route has been independent of each other. But technically the longest traverse was what you just mentioned, Gotti, in 1981 January. The traverse started from 15th January 1981 and finished in May 1982. And this traverse started from Giling, which is much further to the north and east of Bomdila, much further up. So this was led by Colonel Harish Kohli. It had then Colonel H.S. Chauhan, Captain Chauhan, it had N.D. Sherpa, Naib Subedar, and it had N.B. Guru, the four-member team. So they started from there and they traversed the entire, again, there are areas of convergence and there are areas where the routes were a little different. And they also finished at the Karakoram Pass.
But I think they didn't.
So the route what they've shown is continuous. The map what is there on record, it shows it's a continuous. But in any case, so it was a four-man team, and of course, they took their time in doing it. So there have been, but this expedition was by the first ladies, the first ladies to do it. So once the team broke up, one team went to Indra and they finished there, that was 5, and 3 of them went to Karakoram Pass. And they were joined by, Mr. Jean Thomas.
General Thomas's wife.
General Thomas's wife, an avid trekker. And as Divyesh was telling me yesterday, that took care of a lot of problems, in terms of sanctions and permission. And of course, the IMF played a very important role, then President Dr. M.S. Gill. So, I think it was a wonderful traverse, and for the ladies to do it is something absolutely amazing, Yes, can we have any surprisingly no ladies asking a question? Yeah.
I'm a solo traveler. So basically I noticed one thing, that during my trips, during my trips to Himalayas, whether it's Sikkim, whether it's Nepal, whether it's India, the weather in Himachal side is very cold, It's chilling. As soon as you climb up and you gain altitude, you feel a bit of cold there, But when you go towards Nepal, like I went till Kudari, and then went till Jibi, it was not exactly cold. It was like I have never felt that I'm, achieving any height over there. It was surprising for me. Even when I went for Sangrila trek, during one of my trips in Sikkim, it was the same. I never witnessed anything which was cold. It was very dry, hot, and it was amazing for me because I usually like cold weather. And Himalayas being hot is not what I like to do. Did you notice something of that sort during your, the whole stretch? That, the dryness in the air or the chilling part? Or
the thing is that across the Trans-Himalaya, that is, as you are aware, there are lower foothills, upper foothills, central Himalaya, higher Himalaya. So Trans-Himalaya is between 13,000 and 20,000 above the tree line. And there are times when you will come down all the way to the riverbed and go up again. So some part of western Bhutan or something I must have felt is almost similar to where I come from, Maharashtra. Hot and cold. So there is part of going to be, and also the season, it depends also on season. So we started in winter hoping to finish it before the winter begins again. So we came across monsoon in July, August, but we were lucky not to get really bad weather, really bad weather as such. And I think by that time also we were weather bitten. So if it's cold, we wear a jacket. If it's not, just take out the jacket and keep walking, or just pour yourself some cold water and you'll be fine. Yeah. Mansarwa side, then it's all Tibet side. So Mustang Valley or Western Nepal is like that. Again, dried and arid, it took across the Rumrao. Yeah.
Yes, Niru, please.
Yes. It was winter, and also we had just started walking. So 1 week, exactly 1 week we crossed Sela Pass, but we are still in Arunachal Pradesh. So we took 10 days starting from Bomdila to Bhutan border and plating. So after 5th day, it was snowbound, and at places Sela Pass is again today, and that time also on the Montreal road, but there are no permission given, and only in between places we zigzag and walk through the forest to get rid of the vines on the road. So, and then it was just the beginning, so we're just breaking in. So we didn't want to, and we were camping with military and military camps as they were advising us to go more ahead. Yes, and we took 10 days to reach Bhutan border. So with 5th or 6th day we crossed Sela Pass, and then another 3-4 days to reach the border between India and Bhutan.
Which was the border point?
Bleeding.
Yes. So from Lumla you turn in east. Yes.
Yes. Tawang.
Bleeding. So I will share with you that we have here with us Miss Niru Nanda, and she's written an incredible book, Tawang, the land of Mon.
Oh, wow.
So she's an authority in her own way. And
what bleeding is, unlike what we are seeing right now, the war around the world, really disturbed me, because I was so happy to know that of course Intelligence Bureau people were there and who hosted us at the border, and they said, okay, well, aren't you coming with us to the border? He said, no, those big trees you see, just go through across those 2 trees and you're in Bhutan. And I was so happy, and so was the thing on the other end of Bhutan also. When we went to Sikkim, it was Pangolaka Pass, just a pile of rocks and cane, and we just sitting on top, and other side is Sikkim. And I'd be so happy if world was like this, world is like that, without borders.
So you went from Sela Pass to Gang, Tawang, Lumla, and
then to
Yes, plating. Yes. And then plating into Khamtang, the first eastern state of Bhutan.
the north line of Tawang.
Yes.
And they entered into Tashigong.
Tashigong. After I think we crossed about 11 or 12 districts of Bhutan out of 19.
Okay, yes, there was a lady out here.
Yes.
Wanted to ask a question. Rama, was that you? Sorry, someone.
Yes, sir.
Mountains. This was a very fascinating presentation, and so I'm just curious to know that you had such a long journey and carried over 198 days. So did you have an exact route map that from start to finish, or there were deviations? Because you know the end destination, but was it exactly
No,
the way?
we didn't know the end destination either. It's you just get up in the morning, start walking, and sometimes you get lost. You retrace your steps, and then by the time it's late, the sun is almost going down, and you said, okay, we have covered approximately, must have covered so much. So you ask the locals, because as I said, not a era of Google or that we could give each and every map and each and every trail. And you do retrace your steps and walk a bit more sometimes. But at the end of the day, you reach, you're kind of on the trail. It's very difficult for such a long journey to have, you have a plan, but as what we say, that life, what happens to life is making other plans, and your life just happens. So it's the same thing with such kind of a trek. So you have a border outline, but you may skip this, or you prefer this, and you just decide to walk through that line.
So it's
Yes.
okay. And this is a traverse. This is not a climb of a mountain, where you go up and down, up and down. And this is not a circular trek either, where you're going to repeat. Once you left a valley and a pass, you're looking further. westwards.
Like for
There's no
example,
coming back.
we were supposed to cross a pass called Simingla, a very high altitude pass in Bhutan. We could have crossed this pass and we would have reached Thimphu, the capital of Bhutan, much easier. When we reached there, the snow level was neck deep. And the locals who were coming with us from Bhutan, they're just villagers, they were not porters, they were a bit instructed by the district commissioner. We were state kids from Bhutan and they were told to help us. So they were not prepared and we were also not prepared to take extra people along with us to cross such high pass. So we had to retreat and take a huge U-turn going back, adding maybe 4 or 5 additional walk through forest, and that time we were walking about anything between 20 to 21 hours to reach Thimphu on time.
Okay.
Yes.
So lovely.
Can I can't use a map and a GPS unless you're asking for a helicopter for recovery. It's not going to work. The GPS is taking the wrong route. That is one. And secondly is that you are relying so much on the locals, the guides, the animals. So there are some known stretches that people are using for trade or business or carrying supplies. So you're banking on that. Like the lady mentioned, the forests, which are beautiful. If you go in these forests and places, you can get terribly lost. You have to stick to trails. You need a guide or common sense of what the lay of the land, where the, otherwise you'll be walking with your hands and fingers.
I just feel that GPS, we all use it now, the modern technology, but the experience of being in the forest is nothing to do with GPS. It's like the energy of the forest. If you're just sitting there, I don't need a GPS or anything else to feel that energy of the forest. Like there were 100-year-old trees, and we met with this old lady with her aunt, and I was wondering how this lady is walking such a steep trail. But she was radiant, she was older, had wrinkles, but she was radiant, and she was asking us where we are coming from and how about for us how it was for walking on a land. So it was very fun. It was those experiences you can't replace them with any of the technology. Even today, when I want to go for a trek, or somebody should tell me just let's go, I don't like to go and see it on the Google map how the place looks. Because I feel it has its own charm when you just go with what's on the next corner. Yes.
Curious, you asked so many questions. One is leading to the question that was just asked. What have you how have you seen if you've gone back to these places again? What has changed now in these places? I'm curious to just see, what was the condition back then in the mountains, the communities, the glaciers, the forests, and what we are seeing now. So, because 3 decades must have been so untouched, so pristine, and what kind of, how many glaciers you may have seen, if you have been there again, how much they have receded. I'm just curious from a nature perspective.
So Anurag, for that you will have to do that traverse again.
No, but to answer that question
You have to
about
photograph them again.
4 years ago,
So we will leave that question for a future time.
4 years ago I went
Yes,
to...
any other question please, anyone? Okay.
Thanks.
Yeah.
She's asked.
Thank you.
She's answering.
One answer I'll give you is that a friend of mine was here from army now, Amit Pandey, Colonel.
Can I mention?
Please tell me because I'm sorry, Brigadier Amit Pandey is here and he was posted in Arunachal Pradesh and happened to visit him in 23 years, January or something, and 22. That was almost 26, 28 years ago. His first question was when you're going to write your book. And the second thing, in Arunachal, I went to Bomdila. Well, for the namesake, I went to Bomdila. I could not find where we had spent a day in 1997 because I'm from Mumbai. I've seen Mumbai change over 30 years. So-called development has reached every corner of India. So I don't expect to... I'm just happy when I see the raw forest and in difficult terrain and there are no roads. So then there is still time for development to reach that place. And in Leh, I've seen the glacier recede. In last 25 years, we're visiting since 1997. What glacier that fed the water to Leh town does not exist anymore. So it's the same situation around the world. So that's a situation which is beyond our control.
Okay. You know, it reminds me of what Colonel Premchand, late Colonel Premchand once said. You know, he belonged to a village in Lahore, and he said we were perfectly fine till development hit us.
I'm sorry if I missed, how was the team formed?
Out of 43 applications apparently were reached by leader Bachanvi Pal in Jamshedpur, and out of 43 applicants, 7 of us were chosen. What was the reason for our selection? I have no idea, but I am being a photographer and a background of medical first aid knowledge. I was chosen to be the photographer of the expedition. So we were 7 women from different states of India. I was from Maharashtra.
Was the trekking experience or some length of trekking must have been a must?
I wish it was, but I don't think it was so. But I was nobody to decide that because I was chosen as member. One of my member also was there with me, who was my course mate from basic and advanced course, and she was that time living in Jamshedpur. So I thought maybe she might have suggested me. I have no clue. I'm grateful for her for selecting me. So because I could be on such a beautiful trail and experience what.
It must be easier than the advanced course.
Well, we will
I
talk
won't say
about that little.
I won't say that. In advanced course, you are provided for things, sir. Here you have to procure yourself a rock or get the firewood if you want to. If you are feeling too cold.
Advanced mountaineering course is. Oh, okay, wonderful. So, any other question, please? One last question. Anyone?
Yes.
Yes, Tom.
Yeah, hi, Vinita. It's Ram.
Yeah, hi, nice.
So I wanted to ask you,
Yes.
I haven't read your book, but I mean, how did this thing start? Like, where did this idea come? I mean, who was the first person who thought of this and how did it originate?
Originally for me, it was our dream trail. Divyesh and myself, when we got married, we met in the mountains at the age of 15 and 16, and we did our education, and he became CA, and I became an artist, and we got married, and and we started mountaineering, and we said when we kind of retire, probably 20 years down the line, we think of doing this. This was our dream trail to begin with. And in 1996, a letter came to Himalayan Club that Bachanvi Pal was planning this expedition, and she was asking women, because of course there were many people who wanted, but it was probably first 1 or 2 people had decided to think about this trail, and she had reached out in 1996, but the permissions through the different countries did not come through, and then that's why it got postponed to 1997.
Good to see Ajit Bajaj here. Any question, Ajit? Anything?
Yes.
One quick question, Vineeta. We are looking at developing a Trans-Himalayan trail, so a Western Himalayan trail, starting from somewhere in the Jammu region, Patni-Top, going all the way across to Kumaon.
Yeah.
And also an Eastern Himalayan trail, starting from either the Singalila Ridge, the Darjeeling area, going across all the way to Namdapha, Eastern Arunachal. And also hoping, now the Government of India, Ministry of Tourism is very keen to go ahead with something like this. We also want to talk to the Government of Nepal and Bhutan, connect this with the Trans-Bhutan Trail and a Great Himalayan Trail as well. What's your advice?
I think it's a very big task because in Nepal, I was just a few years ago, I was going towards Tibet, and I was in western side of Nepal when this Maoist movement was taking place. So I feel really fortunate that the condition keep changing, like the ice is not there, or it's a great idea. How feasible, unless the people do it and establish it for other peoples to go. It's a wonderful idea, I would say. But how practical, I have no idea.
Sorry, Ajit, what you can do is in a book, there is a complete route which is given.
Right.
All the various segments. Just have a look at that. It will give you an idea, but over the years things have changed. Yeah. And then of course.
Well, you've been helping us a lot with this, and I think we'll request Vineeta to to help us because
Sure, I would love to help you with the places.
I think such a trail, a mega trail across the Himalayan region will actually, in a way, if we do maximum benefit to the locals along the way and
Yes.
with a strict leave no trace ethos, I think it will transform the Himalayan landscape to some extent. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so